Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome
to
to
the show.
Hello.
the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of The Grand Slam, of course, Season 2. And, of course, I'm here with my two lovely hosts, Will from South Texas and Robin. Say hello, you two.
Hello, you two.
Hello, you two.
Yeah, the you two, the
And
band.
hello, YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
YouTube, where
It's a
you
little-
can subscribe to our channel.
Our
The
channel?
Grand Slam YouTube channel.
Whoa! Wait, that's the Discord. Whoa, but we also have a Discord.
And you can join the Discord. If you have friends that are interested and are not part of the Discord yet, please ask them to join our Discord community and also to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Also
Please
follow
do.
us on Twitter and to like us on Facebook.
Yeah. And you like us, if you want to watch this video, if you're not able to watch this video right now or you can't see it live, we'll have it up on the YouTube sooner or later in a couple of days. And there's a link right there.
If you haven't already, how about you grab yourself a little snack and grab a hamburger so you can be a part of the Twitch discussion and be a part of subscribe to the Twitch channel. I'm having a brain fart right now, and I'm
Yeah, I was about to say, wow, you buckled that. We gave you the ball, and you said, "I'm gonna throw it the opposite way."
Exactly.
Let me just grab my pipe here and hold it and judge you. Well, that was unfortunate.
But yeah, if you haven't followed our Twitch yet, give us a nice follow. We're really close to getting to be affiliated on Twitch. You know, and tell your friends, share this to your friends, to your family, if they like our show, if they like to watch movies, if they like games, show our podcast. You know, we do some other stuff too. You know,
When we get affiliate, I am going to buy Minecraft, which I have never owned, and play Minecraft, which I have never done. And I'm going to do the first run on hardcore mode, which I don't know what that means. So, that's going to happen, and we're definitely going to have a video of that on the YouTube. We might even have it here live at some point.
We might stream
of me bumbling around Minecraft, literally not knowing what to do. and with my co-hosts here, I don't think they're going to help me. I'm pretty sure they're just going to be like, "Oh yeah, you should go do that thing over there," and then I'd probably die. And then they're gonna laugh.
Speaking of Minecraft, I did hear that Stefan, another person that's been in our episodes that have not yet aired, he's been looking at Minecraft, considering maybe getting it. I'm not sure yet, but he might be. He says he's thinking about it, so we'll have to wait and see. I wanted to say that before we actually get into what we're going to talk about today.
Oh yes, which is you know, we're gonna switch it up today. We usually talk about some news first and then the movie review, but we're gonna switch it up today. Why? Because we got a special guest, and she's gonna be coming in very soon. She just had she's a busy lady. She's got to do other stuff. She's got some stuff to work on.
She had to go kill a dragon and get a key to open a chest to get a map that leads through a maze that takes you to a sword that she then had to use to kill an army of demons? ? We don't know where the story goes from there. She'll tell us when she gets back.
Yes.
Where the story goes.
Oh yeah, but don't worry, she will be here for the Golden Globe nominations discussion. I know that we know that for sure. But we're gonna start off with our movie of the day that we three all watched. Maybe you guys saw at home, which is it's a small horror film, or a small, like, I guess you call it, anthology of horror films.
Yeah, that's what it
called,
said, at least.
Yeah, which the movie is called VHS. It doesn't have just one director; it has multiple directors because the reason it's an anthology. It's very short horror films directed by different directors. So it's an interesting one. I personally did see it before, but I seen it quite a long while ago. that I barely remembered anything of it except the first episode. But I believe this was Will and Robin's first time watching this, if I'm not wrong.
And also Laurie's, because she also got a chance to watch it also.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
I had never seen it.
And I'm kind of in agreement with when she showed up earlier before we had to change stuff around. Like her first comments about the movie was, "What the fuck was that?" And I'm fully with that sentiment on what the hell was that.
Well,
it was interesting.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's more than just one. There's a sequel, and I believe a third one that came out like
there's
in
a third one.
Oh God, there's a third one.
Yeah.
It's called VHS Viral, I think it's called.
Yes.
I looked into this, and then there's even a spin-off of the very first video that they watch in the first VHS movie.
Okay, at some point they're gonna have to upgrade to like Blu-ray, right? Like,
no, they're just gonna go next to DVD.
Well, yeah, but it's like DVD, and then eventually it's like DVD 2, DVD 3, and then like Blu-ray, Blu-ray 2, Blu-ray 3, and then it's just streaming, and then eventually technology is gonna move so fast that it's gonna be like neural discs, where it's like, oh, it's just this is a horror film that we found on a neural disc. It's a stick that you pop into your head, and it just live streams it to your brain, and you're going, "Oh wow, Matthew McConaughey." I assume. Anyway,
coming this summer, Laserdisc.
Laserdisc. Oh my God. What was it? Betamax laser. Yeah. It was oh wow, this is definitely gonna take off. Sorry, that was a little cynical. I apologize.
So the main premise of the story is about this group of hooligans, basically.
Yeah.
These assholes.
Yeah, they're filming them doing their nasty shit by even like assaulting a woman in a fucking mall parking lot by like lifting her shirt up, and it's like
they also break windows, car windows, any window to be exact.
And then they said that they got a message that they to come to this house because it was like some kind of blackmail thing of like, I have a video of shit that you've been doing, so come over and try to find it or something like that. Some sinister shit like that. And so like that's the premise of the background story that goes on when they show the stories that we eventually watch.
It takes a while to get to the actual like VHSs of them.
Yeah.
And it gets, and they're the least interesting thing in the entire movie is the people that go to watch these VHS, or they
like strangely they're the most upsetting thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like
I don't know
some notes.
Yeah, I do want. Also, there's a part in the movie. Well, not a part, but like they show snippets of it. It's the criminals, and I guess it's making an adult film. Because this guy is videotaping himself having
like what was that?
What was the point of that?
I think what it is that they were right. So they're video recording the entire thing, and there's a scene where he asks like, "Hey, what are you using to film?" And the guy's like, I don't know, just something I found in your house. And it's like, he tried to make, like, an amateur pornographic movie, but he didn't tell, and this is a problem, he didn't tell the lady that we can assume was his girlfriend that he was doing it, and then she sees that the camera's on, and she leaves, because why wouldn't you? And the guy that's, I guess, his friend, just like found this random video tape. It was just like, oh cool, we'll just record over this.
And the other thing is they're going into the building and they watch all the VHS while there's a dead old man on a fucking couch where the VHS are at.
We'll put dead in quotes.
Yeah, quote unquote dead. Spoiler
alert, dead in quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not. There's a lot. So, like, one of the notes I have is, first of all, and this is just me stylistically, I don't like, quote, found footage style movies where the camera's shaky as hell.
Mr. Soren, my level, has accepted the hamburger. Thank you so much, Mr. Soren. I do really hope your hamburger tastes delicious. It's the best hamburger you ever had. I guarantee it. It's going to be the best thing you've ever had in your life, kid. Or woman.
It's good quality.
Man, or human. Or loved person. Anything.
Right.
So
found footage. I don't like that. Because found footage is just, we had a low budget and some of this shit's as shaky as hell. Okay? And, like, I get it. It's a stylistic choice, and it's VHS, and they're going with the whole camcorder thing.
It also has to do with how they, how they market it, too. Because, like, the thing about found footage is how it started was from the Blair Witch Project. Because, a lot of people thought that was, like, a real documentary. Like, they thought it was real. Because that's how they advertised it.
Yeah, and this movie came out in 2012. I want to check something real quick. Yeah, it says 20. I looked. It says it was made in 2012. But I want to check something real quick because there is another specific movie that blew up that was also quote unquote found footage.
And for me, I understand your gripe with the found footage, Will. There are a lot of movies that I don't like that are found footage, but there's also a good amount that do it well, that it looks pretty good. But
I can agree. I'll agree that there's a way to do found footage where it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
For me, this movie didn't accomplish that.
Yeah, I would say that this one was kind of... I was kind of in the middle with it when it came to the found footage aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I do like the VHS aesthetic where it has the graininess going up and down.
I'm gonna bring this one up because I was thinking because everyone's seen Paranormal Activity and that was another kind of quote unquote found footage kind of movie that blew up like crazy back in the day. And Paranormal Activity came out in 2007. Which is a couple of years before VHS, which VHS came out in 2012.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking, maybe it also was kind of, inspired because of the craze that was going on with Paranormal Activity at the time.
Yeah, that's true. And I actually went and saw Paranormal Activity in theaters, and it was, semi-found footage, right? But they did it, I think, a little bit better than VHS was, but anyway, that's my first a little gripe about the movie. And then the next thing is in the opening scene, right? The opening couple of scenes, and we've already talked about it, but they're just to use this, they use this to show that these guys aren't exactly good guys, but it's vandalism and then a whole lot of bosom. It's like they're using women's bosoms to make the story go along, and it's but that's not story. That's just bosom. Tits don't make for story. And then sexual violence. So you already start off really strong with a certain view, right? And you automatically, at least for me, don't like these guys. And so then when it's hey, let's go break into a house and find this VHS tape, and they come across a dead old man, and you're just yeah, again, we don't quote dead.
Yeah.
Quote dead. But they don't immediately call the cops. They're just oh, okay, cool, he's dead, so we don't gotta be quiet. And I'm just oh yeah, these are assholes. These are terrible people. So of course they wouldn't do anything about the old man who's quote unquote dead.
Yeah.
So and then they start watching the VHS tapes, right?
Yeah. And for me, when it comes to the VHS stuff, I do. It's kind of like the idea of it is kind of neat. It's kind of neat. Because I like where it's like, oh, you bring like these small like directors and they give their take on like a quote unquote like horror film that maybe like found footage and that kind of aspect, which gives like a bit of like creative freedom for a director like that. But but at the same time, like with this, it's like it's very like hit or miss, and it's a lot of hit and miss with these. And when it and I like that stuff. What I don't like is how it starts up. I feel like they could have done a better job and give a different premise on how they find the found footage. And don't quote me on this, but I feel like I kind of vaguely remember how VHS 2 starts up, and it's what I remember. It starts up. It's like a cop, and they go to this like abandoned house that they're investigating or something.
Because I looked it up to see where it would continue on, and it did say that it's like the mother of one of the people that went into the house was like trying to look for her lost son, and so the clues that led them to eventually going to this house, and then that's when the events for VHS 2 starts.
I don't know how VHS 3 starts because I've never seen VHS 3.
It's just funny that there's a third one.
Yeah, I don't even. I'm surprised there's even a third one. I only thought there was 2 until I looked it up, and I'm like, really? There's a third one?
I just refuse to rewind any of them. I'll watch them, but I won't rewind.
She's back?
Hello? Where am I?
Hold up, ladies and gentlemen, our guest has come in. Some of you may know her from Tamuka, Texas A&M University. She was on the show before when we had her on the radio station, but she also hosted her own show called The Snake Pit. This is the lovely, the wonderful, the amazing Laurie.
Hello. Being on the Grand Slam is my greatest pleasure.
Thank you for coming on the show, Laurie. We're really happy to have you in.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. Yes, I came in on the tail end of this, and I've actually been listening to you now for a few minutes, which is fantastic because, like, coming in and just hearing the different opinions and stuff, you always feel really grateful to be on a show that you like to listen to, you know? And I dig it. I dig all of the perspectives and everything, and I was kind of looking around and listening. I was just like, all right. We're just gaining some steam here. I came in on the whole group part.
Yeah. And, since you are now here with us, Laurie, what is your thoughts like on how VHS, the film starts? Like how they introduce it?
Yeah, I just watched it today. Because I knew y'all were gonna be reviewing it today. And so I did take the time to sit down and watch it. To me, it was a very big mix of, I go back to found footage and I go back to the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, that's what I brought up earlier.
Yeah, and but it was that mixed with the little movie I like to call Sex, Lies, and Videotape, starring William Baldwin, which was the younger Baldwin brother at the time in the 90s. Because he also was this man who was obsessed with these video cameras set up in his house, and he was getting footage, and things just started going awry. Moral issues started coming in. So yeah, it was a mix between that and horror. In that, of course, he just gets exposed and ends up, having to face some criminal charges. But in this one, succubuses or succubi. I'm sorry. What's the plural for succubus?
I think it's just one, because I don't think the.
Oh yeah, it is just the one.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh, but when there's one, there's more. When I was watching it, I thought of the whole world, and I like the whole reality of a world where one would exist, and more do.
More than one.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I really liked it, and then the Blair Witch Project, the shaky footage and stuff like that. I thought they definitely handled it a lot better. You see, and I'm going to date myself here. I saw the Blair Witch Project in theaters.
Oh damn.
Yeah,
that was an unnecessary comment, Edgar. You didn't need to say "oh damn."
Well, I didn't mean it in a bad way, because I'm like, whoa. I'm like, I'm just saying, like
Thank
you saw
you,
the Blair
Sir
Witch.
William. You're chivalrous as ever.
No problem, madam. I do my best.
Oh, yes, but no, yes, I was in high school when it came out. And do you know they really kept it under wraps. This was before social media. This was before everybody had a cell phone. You know, yes, you had a cell phone back then, like, you know, if your family had money. But if you were like a teenage kid with a cell phone, then your dad was a doctor or a lawyer or something. Not just everybody had cell phones back then. So it did take a lot longer for things to get around. Thank God, because I think back to some of the things that I did in high school, and if that stuff could have gone viral, it would have. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, you know, I remember when the movie came out and everybody was freaking out because they had the actors under a gag order. They weren't allowed to do any interviews because they marketed it like a documentary. And I don't think I've seen a documentary marketed it that believably since. Because after they did it, after that, anybody who tried to do a film like that, everybody was suspicious. Like, oh no, this is going to be like a Blair Witch thing, right? So it totally was unprecedented what they did with it. But what it did make us realize is that they're probably not going to be able to get away with something like this again.
Yeah. I guess you could say it was like a lightning in a bottle. I guess you could say with that like that.
Yes. It was just the right time for something like that to come out, because then after that was when, you know, social media and a lot of that within the next 5 years, within the next 2 years after that, we had MySpace, and within the next 5 years, we had Facebook. So it was in a time before, in a world before Facebook. Shout out to She Kills Monsters. Yes. But yes, but that's what it reminded me a lot of. And I really did enjoy it. I really did think that they kind of, I get what they were doing with the whole, and this is coming from a female point of view, and just my point of view, mind you. But I saw where they're going with that. The exploitation had a point to it. I thought it had a point to it, because coming from a female perspective who saw that opening scene in the movie, there was no point where I had any sympathy for these guys.
Right. One of my notes is like literally, oh, okay, so they're all just assholes. Yeah. Got it.
Keep in mind, we are now going into the first VHS that they introduced in the movie.
Yeah, so now we
did
got to the part where they broke into the house and they found
the old man.
Yeah.
One of the guys has just found these VHS tapes and he just starts playing one of them, and now we're in the first one, which I forgot what the official title of the first one's called.
I don't. Do they have titles? These?
Yeah, they have titles.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, if this was cast with the guys from Jackass, it would be a totally different movie.
Oh, yes.
Because I was thinking about it, because essentially they're a group of guys who are going around videotaping, you know, and tricking a bunch of people, except, you know, very douchebaggishly. Even more so than the guys from Jackass.
The first VHS is called Amateur Night. That's what it's titled.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I loved it.
That was the only VHS like episode from that movie that I really remembered mostly, and I kind of understand now why, after seeing the whole movie, that was the only one I remember. Because out of all the ones that I saw, I would say that's the one I like the most out of every of the VHS in this one. The one thing that I kind of liked was the way they had the way they used the camera. I like the idea. It was a creative way they used the camera, which was like, oh, it's like a hidden camera in this guy's lens.
I did like that idea of how they used the camera, was that it was on the glasses.
Yeah, because I was like, that's a very interesting way of like filming it.
Yeah. Talk about perspective. Like, I don't know. A part of me saw that and I was like, that's really neat, and I'm totally going to use that at some point. I don't know when. Yeah. But I got to get my hand on those glasses.
And so this VHS starts off with them introducing that tech, where it introduces the lens and the camera going there, because they're all going to this party because all these guys want to do is find some chicks and take them to their hotel room and, you know,
make a porn video. That was the premise of what they were trying to do.
So like,
and so they go to the bar, and they get increasingly drunk, and then we meet the antagonist question mark of the video, because they all kind of suck, and it's just creepy woman who keeps saying, I like you.
I like you.
I like you.
I like you.
And she has a very interesting little dent on her forehead, in the middle of her forehead.
I didn't even notice that until like a little bit later, and I'm just like, there's like a weird line down her forehead.
Yeah, even when I was watching, I'm like, I'm like, what if? Because I'm like, when I first saw it, even when I was like, okay, that forehead is gonna come to something. I don't want to sound mean, but there's something with that forehead.
See, I didn't notice her forehead until jumping a little bit ahead in that video, but I was focusing on her eyes, because her eyes were
they were like,
did she blink?
This actress did a very good job with her eye work, right? And like, I was just like, oh, my note is creepy woman, quote, I like you. And then it just goes right back to drunken shenanigans, and then they get high. And then, of course, they head back to the room. And it's like, and the creepy woman just keeps saying, I like you. And I'm just
she also started hissing at at the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To one.
It was that.
I think she really did like that one guy.
Not for nothing.
Oh, you don't.
I think she liked him.
She liked him a lot.
Moving on to a further part, but yes, there was a point where she felt rejected by him, and
then
hell has some fury on a woman's sword.
Yeah, I
like,
guess.
Oh, you like my big eyes before? But guys are so fickle.
Yeah. And then so when they finally find it's basically only two of them found girls. One is the I like you girl, and then this other one that they found, and then they bring them to their hotel room, and they try to do the Nancy stuff. They try to do the
contrary to popular belief, that was not me.
Oh Lord. and the three guys, like, one of them's glasses dude, who of the three of them is like the most redeemable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's other dude who found a girl for the night, and they're like making out and bullshit, and she passes out, and the other one, the third one, is just like, hey man, you can't like keep going, she passed out. Mm-hmm. And like, you know what, good for him, that's important. But also, like, how shitty is your friend that you've got to like remind him of that? And then they both close in on, I like you, girl. And she's really only interested in glasses guy.
Yeah.
None of them have names. None of them have names.
We never know them
have names, but they don't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I like you, girl, literally just like rips out creepy dude's throat and is just like killing him. But the other two guys run to the bathroom.
Yeah. But before that happened was, well, I guess at first she was letting him try it, I guess, or something like that. And when they took off the clothes, you see, like, as you see down, it's like you see her scales and like the nails on her feet. And then the other dude gets naked because he's trying to join in. And then when she doesn't like it and she feels uncomfortable, then that's when she rips the guy's throat out and rips his guts out of his stomach.
From what I can remember from earlier in the film, she only hissed at the third guy, the guy that just got fully nude.
Yeah.
And then when he joined in, that's when she was kind of going. She went like on attack mode because it wasn't glasses guy.
Mm-hmm. She kept like trying to get glasses guy in, like. And
mistake me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the third one that she liked the least, didn't she rip off his genitals?
Yes.
Yeah. She like, okay, the guy, the initial guy to get killed and like have his blood sucked. Like she like is like eating him / drinking his blood at one point. Then the other two guys run to the bathroom and obviously lock the door. and they're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Mhm.
And then they went to the well like one or too many times with this gag. It's not really a gag, but like the one guy will open the door and look out, and he's the guy wearing the glasses that have the film, so of course we can see what's happening. And he's like, oh my god, he's eating her. And then they close the door, and then they open it back up again.
He's eating him, not he's eating her.
Yeah, you're right.
Wait,
Well,
hold on, though.
that was
might
the
have been
initial
something.
plan.
Is that- yeah, I think I saw a brief, glimpse, and then
She's eating him, right?
and
then
then
they
quid
did that
pro
like 2 or
quo.
3 times, and the last time they went out with like the towel rack, and they're gonna like beat up the demon,
Yeah.
and she jumps on the third dude like a starving man on a Christmas ham, right? And she's just like,
because she's standing
ass.
still, like she's standing still, like right next to the TV, like in like a weird position. The guy tries to go after her, but then she just knocks it out and boom.
Swing, he goes for one swing and then she just grabs it.
Yeah.
First swing, and then attacks him.
Mm-hmm.
And guy with glasses like goes, oh my god, and climbs on the bed over his dead best friend's body over to the side of the bed and keeps like checking around, and she's eating his ass up, and then pulls his genitals off and just like sets him to the side like, I'll get to this later. And then he goes, oh, I'll run now.
Yeah, she starts
and
puking.
then runs.
I remember that.
Runs outside, he goes, and then he runs to the stairs, and then he falls down the stairs, and I think he breaks his wrist.
Yeah, you see his bone. You see his bone like pop out of that.
I remember like going like, oh god, no, but bones are not supposed to bend that way or something like that.
Yeah, my exact note was, ew, he broke his wrist. Ooh, she's definitely gonna find you, dude. You broke your wrist. Ew. And she finds him. And she probably says, I like you, one more time. And then proceeds to try to engage with fellatio with him. He, having just broken his wrist, watched both of his friends die, and being generally freaked out that by now she has fully opened her forehead chasm. I don't know. It's this deep cut in her forehead, right?
Mm-hmm.
She tries to fillet him, and he's just not responding, obviously. And she goes, you don't like it? And he goes, and then she starts weeping.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I've never connected more.
I think so. I do remember the guy with the glasses saying, I'm sorry, after, she said, you don't like me, or something like that.
Can we still be friends? I think that's what he said.
I'm sorry, but we can be friends. I like you. And then he takes off running, right?
Yeah, because she starts to scream.
Yeah, she goes from sobbing to then screaming, and then
he's running around, literally asking everybody for help.
Yeah,
and I guess because he's covered in blood and in his underwear, those aren't exactly two good options for society, right?
Yeah.
And like he's got a broken wrist, and he's like, help me, and he goes to he hits up everybody. He hits up the guys in the Jeep. He hits up the motel manager, and everyone's just like, we cannot help you at this moment.
The managers are like, oh no, they don't, like they're not helping him out. And then that's when he runs to the guys in the truck, and before he could finish like his sentence, that's when the girl grabs him and goes up in the air.
Because she has grown wings, and
no, she had them the whole time. She was just shy.
Right.
That's right. Now I remember, because I remember like it showed like her back at one point, and it had like it looked like bruises, but I think those were her wings that were just hiding.
Yeah, that's likely.
And then of course they. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
No. 3 things, real quick. 1, I'm sure she was probably a little bit freaked out because they gave her cocaine.
I forgot about that.
They did give her cocaine.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Which is, by the way, public service announcement, everybody. Don't.
Yes. Especially if you're a succubus. Because they don't react well, obviously. 2, the chasm on her head, I don't know. I feel, especially after that final part where she's with him and he won't get hard, and she realizes, oh, you don't like me? There is something with the erect penis in her, because the guy previously to him, she ripped off his genitals, and the first guy, the first place she bit, her head was down there. So there was something to be said, and I don't know if I have a tendency to make connections, when they're not there. I'm a woman. Oh.
Jesus.
I'm just saying. But no, so I was seeing that as connection. I was just like, so what is it? Why does she start there? And we know the first guy had a hard-on. The second guy, we know he did, but at that point he probably would have lost it. But, we don't know. And the third guy, of course, she doesn't eat him and attack him right away because he won't get hard. So it makes me wonder about the chasm on her forehead and what that really is. Because I really did, because she went straight from she goes straight down with her head with that big chasm on her forehead straight to the genitals. And I think very praying mantis when it comes to different species of females, females in different species. So I'm wondering if they had something to do with how she had to ingest them.
I mean, that's a good point with the praying mantis thing.
Yeah, I definitely got praying mantis vibes off the entire thing. But no, please, Liam, go on.
Oh. That dude's dead. Like she like swoops on down like an eagle, grabs his ass, and takes him into the air like he's going on a magical carpet ride, except it's a demon. And she's flapping around like, one of the flying monkeys, just and he's just screaming for his life, and we see like bat wings, and then it just and then his glasses fall off and they just kind of land in the street. Anyway, then the VHS tape ends, and my next note is, oh, okay, so we're just gonna go right back to the house now, huh? We don't get any clarification or closure. Okay. And it's just the dudes, and they're in the basement, and they find a pile of VHS tapes, and then one of the guys turns around, and there's a fucking dude in the basement, and he goes, hey, man, there's a comma, hey, man, there's a guy in the basement with us, and the other guy says, you're full of shit, there's no one here with us, let's go watch these VHS tapes. Okay, fine. There's a dead guy in the house, but yeah, your friend just saw somebody out of the corner of his eye, and we're just gonna move on. Cool. Then, to the VHS tapes, and it's a vacation. Aw, it's a nice little road trip.
This one was just kind of weird, and also just kind of lulled.
Yeah, I will say that for me, that was the second VHS short was the most boring for me personally. Mm-hmm. I was really bored
because it's a road trip. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like a road trip. If you've ever been on a road trip, it's mostly doing nothing until you get somewhere to be, and it's just like mundane conversation. And it's like
I will say, like, after when this one ended, I remember, like, I just kind of said, like, what the fuck happened? Like, not even in, like, oh shit, that just blew my mind, but it just, like, what? That was my initial reaction to the whole thing. And then, like, I did think about it because of to go back to the beginning of it. So Sam and Stephanie apparently is their names. So they go to this Wild West theme park type thing, and they found this fortune teller, and one of them, like, the fortune teller said something like, you will be reunited with your long lost love, or something like that.
You want to be big.
You want to be big.
Oh, sorry. Different movie.
And then that's when, I guess later, like, when I thought about it, I just started thinking, like, oh, that's where that connection comes in. but it still kind of brings up like, well, why did that happen? Kind of thing. That was my deal with it. Like, I just didn't understand, like, why did this person show up and then kill this person?
Yeah.
I'm trying to be very vague as possible so then we can discuss before, so I'm not spoiling anything so we discuss it.
Well, I mean, the main thing that to talk is it just starts off them going to the road trip, they get that thing, and then when they go to bed, they're like, oh, okay, they just go to sleep, and then this person in you don't see them, they're wearing like a weird clear mask, and instead of going to kill the guy, he just goes and looks
Steals
at everyone. He puts that person has a knife and puts it near the girl's butt when they're sleeping, and then he steals $20 from the guy's wallet, and then he puts the guy's toothbrush in the toilet, and then puts it back.
I don't see where that's going to accomplish, especially what happens later, because it's like, what was the point of doing that if later you're just going to do that?
Yeah.
But also, like, so in the hotel room, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first night, like, first of all, they're clearly vacationing in the Badlands, and it's a beautiful landscape, and it's a hokey ass Wild West town, and cool. And then they're in the room, right? And she's like, Sam got this room which is kind of dirty, and I was just like, well, girl, leave. Like, find you a better hotel room. Complain to the manager. You know, use your inner Karen for good, and not just accept the fact that you're gonna get bed bugs anyway.
Don't do what I do and just demand a discount for bloodstains. You know, you should definitely move rooms.
You should definitely move room. And see, at that moment, I thought briefly to myself, I was like, is this the same room that the succubus was in? Because that's just a really bad coincidence. But anyway, I don't think it is. But, so that happens. And then they go to the Wild West town and fortune reading, and it's big, but, you know, hey there, partner. Anyway, and then they're back in the hotel room, and he's recording her shirtless, and like I don't know what it is with the men in this film who all want to record an amateur pornographic film with somebody, but they all want it, and he's like, I want to film you, and she's like, no, and I just wrote, no means no, gentlemen, because it does. No means no. And so he like puts the camera down, and then they sleep in separate rooms because the doofus was too dumb.
They're in the same room. They're sleeping.
They're in separate beds. Separate beds. They're in separate beds. Excuse me. They're in separate beds because the dummy was too dumb to get a queen size bed. And then there's a knock on the door, and it's a random woman, and she asks for a ride, and he goes like, no. And then like closes the door, and you can see her out the window like walking around the parking lot. It's really anticlimactic, and he just goes into this thing about like, I don't know what it was about her. She was like scary, even though she wasn't like intimidating. I don't know. It was weird. Okay, good night, honey. And they go to bed. Cut to homegirl came in the room with a knife, as we've previously stated, and she just like rubs the knife on the girl's butt and like steals money and puts the dude's toothbrush in the toilet and then just leaves. How did she get in? I was really grateful
for that moment of reality, you know?
Yeah, like how? First of all, how'd she get in? I mean, you know, I guess homegirl just straight up had a key.
Well, because what we know later on, we would figure out like, oh, she was probably just let it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So, and you're freaked out a little bit by that because like then he uses the toothbrush and it was in the toilet and ew. And then they just go back to like vacation shit. It's like, oh look, it's the Badlands, and look at the rocks, and it's beautiful. And you're just like,
I don't know if it's the Badlands. I think it was the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I think it was the Grand
Oh,
Canyon.
okay.
Well, either way,
Yeah.
the Badlands has a giant canyon too, so I mean, it's
And like, it's
Great
just
movie.
happy-go-lucky vacation scenes,
Mhm.
and then back to the hotel room, and like murder.
yeah.
And like, it's the girl, and she comes in with the knife and stabs the dude in the neck, and like cuts his
And
neck.
then, and that's the thing. That's whenever I bring up like, so then why put the toothbrush in the toilet?
Or in
to send a message.
or in general, why go the first night at all? Why didn't you just kill them?
You know what? It's 'cause-
Maybe they got off on it as a lesbian couple.
or maybe they just really wanted to see the Grand Canyon, and the girl who did the murdering was kind of blasé about it. She's like, I don't really want to see the Grand Canyon, but other girl wanted to, so they went like, fuck it, we'll just go with the husband, and then we'll kill him later. And
we'll
like,
take his money.
Yeah.
and I'll take his money.
But only $10 out of it. Was it 10 or 20?
It was 100, I think. It was
Oh,
in
yeah, there we go.
20s. And like, here's the thing, and it's a really, really small detail. They steal his money, they kill him, and then we assume they take more stuff. He had a gold ring on. They could have like taken that. I mean, like, you could hawk that at a jewelry store. You know what I mean? Like, just it's the little things where I'm like, well, if you're gonna murder and rob somebody, do it right. Don't murder and rob people. That's a public service announcement. Don't do that.
But if you're going to do it, here's some tips.
Call Lovely Laurie.
If you're gonna do it, here's a step-by-step process. No, it's bad. But like, yeah, that was
Follow my TikTok for step-by-step instructions.
TikTok. Yes.
I do a little
Yes.
dance to it. It counts.
So like, of all of the films we watched, like all of the different parts of the film, right?
Yeah.
This one was the creepiest because this one was the act. Like, I actually could believe this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could actually believe that you could just be murdered.
It was boring to me, and my honest, it was a bit boring, but it felt realistic out of all of them.
Yeah. I was just mostly kind of just bored with the second one. I was like, golly, I'm like, just hurry up and go to another one.
It does drag. Like,
The whole movie honestly drags for me. Because I remember watching it and I'd be like, oh wow, well, we got to be close now. And I was like, we've got another hour? Jesus. And it's not like it was all boring, but it just felt like it went on forever.
So then it cuts the footage out because they're driving away in the car, and the ex-fiance, I guess at this point, told the woman that killed him erase the video, and then it cuts back to somebody to one of the guys watching the VHS tape, and he's about to move into the next one. But then we notice that the old man that was sitting behind him is now gone.
Yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah. And then he just puts in the
next one
immediately.
Yeah.
Which I know that Edgar said that this one he did not like at all.
Oh yeah, this was the one I hated the most. It's the one where
Yeah.
Go for it, Will.
I was just gonna say, and again, the very first thing they do in this is they establish that the people are trash.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, oh look, there's a pedestrian on the side of the road doing literally nothing, and they just like tried to run him over. But
let's
like,
swerve
not
into
really.
him and scare him.
Yeah, I was like, golly, I'm like, I want all of them to just go away.
And then the guy with the camera is like immediately like just zooming in on breasts.
Yeah.
With the camera.
I was like,
But you know what, though? Okay, let's be real. This is when it comes to breasts, it's not always a sexualized thing.
Mm-hmm.
Breasts can mean a lot of different things. They're very beautiful. Two, they're a source of life because they're where the milk come from. So it's a very symbolic thing. Howard Hughes used to use it a lot in his movies. That's the reason why he always cast Jane Russell. just defending breasts.
Yeah, I don't think.
Show, we're going to have Laurie do a defense of breasts. This is PBS.
I won't get into my thesis. I wrote my dissertation over this.
But
I have a PhD in breasts and women's studies.
And also in wood carving.
Yes.
Wood carving.
Yes.
You see, that's something that I know a little bit about. Anyway, so these trashy college kids
are going to
almost run a guy over.
Yeah.
They're going to a forest or something?
Like a lake?
Mm-hmm. Crystal Lake. No, I'm sorry, just a lake.
Copyright, can't use it.
Yeah.
Apparently. But like, there's like the nerdy guy and
who looks like James Gunn.
Looks like James.
That's all I can think about. Like, he looks like James Gunn. I'm like, Guardians of the Galaxy director?
I can't even pay attention to the movie now. All I can think about is James Gunn now.
I'm like, wow.
And then the soundtrack kicked in, and it was excellent.
See, you said James Gunn, and I thought Tim Gunn because make it work.
Make it work.
Make it work. And like, okay, nerdy dude and more jockish type dude are having a conversation about one of the two girls, because there's the blonde and there's the one who's driving the car that is taking them to the lake.
Which is the jock's girlfriend.
Yeah. And like the blonde, they in the same sentence call her a blonde goddess. No, she's a blonde crack whore. And I was like, well, there's the duality of life, isn't it? And like that language
it
is
really
a choice.
is.
And then they're walking around, they get out of the car, they get to the lake, and the girl who brought them to the lake is strange as hell from the get-go. But
Like,
they
the
see
guy
this
with the-
wall, and she's like, yeah, my friend fell over the wall.
Yeah, and then we start seeing glitches of like dead bodies that are showing up on the camera.
Yeah.
I love that. That was really Blair Witchy.
Yeah, that part I did kind of like, because it did kind of keep me intrigued of like what's going to happen next. But other than that, it was just kind of when we finally see who it is like that's kind of, I don't know.
When we see him, he's like the lamest. He's a Dollar General. No, he's a Dollar Tree Jason Voorhees.
They couldn't come up with a clever costume, so they just glitched him out of existence.
Just put this red sack over your head, and they couldn't afford a machete, so they got him a kitchen knife.
It's kind of a nod to are y'all familiar with that old horror movie, The Town Who Never Slept?
No.
And it was based out of the killings in West Texas, the actual murders in West Texas, with a man with a bat over his head.
No.
And he knew these places out in West Texas. It was a small town up there. And there was these places where kids would go parking, like high school kids and college kids. And there was a string of murders. And there was only one or two people that even survived these. Because he would rape and, the women and all sorts of things. And he would have their boyfriends watch, and then he would kill them. Jesus. But there was like one or two survivors. And they actually made a movie about it. And all he did was he cut 2 holes in a sack and put it over his head. And it was always a different instrument of death, whatever it took to kill them. But they even did a movie about it called The Town That Fears Sundown is what it was called.
Okay.
The Town That, but it's an actual, based on actual killings that happened in West Texas. And that's what that actually reminded me of.
Okay.
Oh. But this VHS one.
Myself again. I've seen a lot of old movies because I'm older. So, and my mom wanted to be a film director. That was always her dream. So growing up as a child, she I couldn't watch cartoons because the TV was always what my mom wanted to watch. So I grew up watching black and white films out the wazoo.
Interesting.
Joey.
So I'm actually not that old. It's just my mother's.
Joey.
exposure to old movies makes me seem older.
Mhm.
I'm really 21.
Oh.
Yes.
No, darling, you're not the day of 18. I can tell. I can look into your soul, darling. No, simply not the day of 18, darling.
William.
The day of
I've
18.
never done a podcast before today with William, and I just adore him. FYI. Anyway, back to Murder and Mayhem.
The line, Joey, you're all gonna fucking die up here. And then she just leaves.
Oh yeah.
She just walks away like she just said, you know, the mosquitoes are pretty bad today. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna rain.
I think-
I think it's gonna rain and you're all gonna fucking die up here.
Mhm.
Which, like, correct, but also unnecessary. And I instantly then was just like, oh, well, she's the murderer. And guess what? Kind of correct.
She technically was, because she had a plan, but her plan was the most stupidest plan I've ever seen.
Because she was there last time with the group of people that went missing before this group went.
Yeah.
One common denominator.
And then
Yeah.
and before we see everyone die, they're all smoking. They're smoking the marijuana on a joint, and James Gunn is never smoked it. He's a scaredy cat. James Gunn. James Gunn.
I love calling him James Gunn.
Because
It's awesome.
that was the only thing that caught my interest, was the guy looked like James Gunn, and I'm like,
No, like, yes. Yes, Edgar, absolutely.
and I'm like,
So then Samantha, the blonde girl, goes off to, I guess, take a piss or something. And James Gunn follows her with the camera. And like she starts to do like this special, I'm assuming it was a cheerleading move.
which I don't know.
I don't know what exactly it was.
She made it
She was
seem
doing
like she it looked like she was gonna do like something else, but it went to a cheer dance, which was like, that's the secret you were keeping. Isn't that like a cheer like tryout thing or something? And then she gets killed with a knife thrown at her face.
The butcher knife just comes in and stabs her in the back of the head. But
And you know the murderer was like, man, I bet I could get a bullseye from way over here. Just let me line this up right there. Boom! Bullseye! Also, when they're smoking the pot, because we're never gonna come back to this because we're done. They smoked pot; it was a thing.
Yeah.
But he says, James Gunn says, "I'm scared of getting the fear," and I was just like, "Oh man, that is an amazing Hunter S. Thompson reference."
Oh,
And
yes!
I'm just
Oh, I'm
happy
sorry, I'm
that
so
they made
excited.
it. And it was like, I was like, that's a Hunter S. Thompson reference. Good for you. That's
I was just about to comment on that. I didn't think anybody else had caught that.
it's good writing. Like in that one moment, it was good writing. It was, a Hunter S. Thompson reference, and then boom, bullseye, cheerleader dead, James Gunn.
Yeah.
Also very soon.
Maybe that line was from James Gunn. He's like, oh, I want to put it in and I want to say it, and so he said it in the movie.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then the Samantha girl comes in and picks up the camera, saw what happened, takes it over, and then starts asking Chad, or
Accurate.
Yeah.
he's a Chad. That's what he is. He starts asking him like,
Okay.
she starts asking him like, do you want to have sex? Like just out of the blue. And
Yeah, because in reality, girls always have to walk up to guys and ask them if they want to have sex.
which I think
That never happened.
at first, to admit, like Chad was a bit confused when he did hear that at first. Like, well, what are you talking about? Well, our friends are just gone. Where are they? Why are you bringing this up?
Because he's all like, I'm like, something's gone on. She's like, no, they already left. They went doing something. He's like, what's going on with them, dude? What's happening?
FYI, public service announcement, most people's fetishes stem from trauma. Most people's sexual fetishes stem from an early trauma. Just saying, go on.
And her plan was the way she was gonna get this killer to come, so because she wanted revenge because other people that she was close to died. She brought all these people, like her friends, and she got
kind of lure him out.
to. I guess she brought her friends in there to all of them, so they can all die, so she can find them, find the guy, and fight him because she net booby traps there. And
then she thought he
Booby.
killed. She thought he killed her.
God damn it!
Are we going back to breasts again?
She thought she killed him with one of the booby traps. But then it turns out that, like, oh no, she didn't. He's somehow immune to death.
Yeah.
And then he jumps on her and then starts beating
Killing
the
her.
shit out of her with the camera.
Yeah.
And then rips out her guts.
Mm-hmm.
And then he leaves, and then she turns into that thing herself.
Yeah.
Did she turn, or I thought she just died?
No, she turned into that thing. I had to look it up later, and that's what it says even on the Wikipedia. It's like, Wendy's corpse is last seen twitching and shuddering violently as the camera glitches out, revealing that she is becoming a glitch herself.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't even notice that in the movie. I just thought she just died.
It doesn't really, to a common person, it does, a general audience member, it doesn't really portray that well.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to think about it. And then I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, when she revealed her plan the entire time, I was already at this point, I was rooting for the lame monster to kill her, just to kill everyone there. I was like, just do it, dude. I'm already tired of this movie. Just kill them off already.
At this point, at that point, I was just like, no, I'm rooting for the guy. Yeah, I'm rooting for the murderer. Just like, let's finish this up, because I don't know.
Let's move this along. Kill him. We gotta get through more movie here.
We got two more
VHS. Can I just say this real quick? The names of the people in this VHS are Joey, Samantha, Wendy, and Spider.
I think the James Gunn guy was named Spider. His name was Spider.
I wonder if that's his birth name. Spider Cockroach Smith.
It's my stepson twice removed's middle name. No, I'm kidding. I don't have a stepson. Marriage is gross. No.
And then what happens? Do we see the guys, like the people who are watching the VHS? Do we see them after that VHS ends, or
it goes back, and it's the same guy who's watching it, and then now the old guy is back, and he's sitting back down in the chair. And I'm trying, and I think it's just the old guy. I'm trying to remember. Like, what's helping me remember is also these. I'm looking also at the Wikipedia here, because there's just a lot of stuff that I just don't remember too. What I remember is then the guys that were in the basement, they go back up and they find that one of their friends is gone, and the old guy's still there. And then they start watching these last two films, or at least one guy starts, and the other guy is going around the house looking for the other people. And then he puts it in. And I'll be honest, this next one I really liked this one, because I kind of like. I don't know why I liked the twist at the end of it.
Oh, you mean the Zoom, the FaceTime call one?
Yeah, the video chat one.
I
just liked it because at first, because I was messaging the chat with you and Will, Edgar.
Yeah.
I just kept saying, like, this is just phasmophobia, but it's this is what it is. And then later it turns out, I was like, oh no, it's not. It definitely is not.
Okay, yeah, because I will say this is the one that I told you guys when we were on Discord later last night, where I was laughing my ass off on this one. Because I don't know, there was a point in that VHS that I started laughing my ass off of it, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on with this? And That was just me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it starts off with video chat starts.
Mm-hmm.
This girl is talking to this guy about like there's something in my arm.
She's got a lump in her arm.
Yeah. And oh god, I'm also trying to remember.
Because she's like,
Emily. This is Emily. Remember when I kept saying, girl, Emily's crazy? Yeah,
Yeah.
Emily's crazy.
The part, and now I kind of understand.
I actually am in negotiations right now because I'm suing them for using my life
God damn it.
and my image in this particular part. But I mean,
So she keeps saying that her house is haunted.
mhm.
And she keeps seeing like
It is.
children that are running around.
Ugh, I know, gross.
And actually, it's not even a child. It's actually just like a really short person, and they're just.
I am
Anyway.
so sorry. I have to blame my age on that one. Yes, but like, yes, that little person I met in San Francisco.
So, and like, is anybody else weirded out that when she's talking to her, I guess, soon to be a doctor boyfriend, she's just like, there's something the matter with my arm, and she just keeps poking it? She's just like poking
wouldn't
it.
you
and
do that?
poking
I
it.
know. We all do that. We pick our scabs.
No, but like,
Yeah.
But she
but
doesn't.
like, if my
But she doesn't have a.
doctor boyfriend was just like, hey,
Right now.
kind of don't do
My arm.
that.
But I mean, at the same time, Doctor Boyfriend was like one. Like he was the reason I started laughing because his performance was really bad. I was like, because the part that like I was like, okay, this woman's really crazy. I don't want to jump into it yet, but like the point where she goes real crazy, his reaction is like the most stealth thing in there. And I guess you could understand when it goes to the ending, but at that point it was when I started like bursting out in like laughter.
And like, I'm sorry, Edgar, go on.
Oh no, I'm just laughing. Just go on.
Okay, so here's the thing about why I say Emily's crazy, because Emily's crazy. She thinks her apartment is haunted. Okay, that's fine. In this world, we are assuming that ghosts exist, right? Cool. Awesome. Great. But like, she wants to talk to the ghosts? And she wants to talk to the ghosts with her soon-to-be doctor boyfriend on the other line of on the other side of the webcam, so like they can both see the ghost.
Yeah.
And he isn't like, oh my god, I just saw a child. It's a goddamn child, okay? They see a child and then it just disappears. You need to get out of that house. You need to like leave and go. And honestly, and I have this written down, says, Emily, girl, you crazy. You need to go to a church and then a free clinic, because she needs to get her arm looked at and she needs to get a blessing by somebody because her house is haunted. And she's just like, nah, I'm going to talk to my boyfriend over Zoom, and like, we're going to talk to this ghost. And typical woman, she thinks she can save these kids with the help of her husband who's 5,000 miles away.
But I will say,
like, no, I can save these kids. It's like, no, these kids are dead. They are literally beyond help. You need an old priest and a young priest. You need to exercise
the power
the
of Christ
demon.
compels you.
The power of Santeria compels you. Rub an egg on its forehead, send it away.
Yep. Bury it in the yard after it cooks.
Yep, that's what she got to do. It's but she's like, but I can save them. No, it's a ghost. You can't save a ghost.
Yeah.
Ghost is dead.
And every time they do an encounter, she's like, don't forget to record. He's like, don't worry, I forget to record.
What's this asshole's name? Emily James. James can go fuck himself. He had one job.
He had one job. He had one job to record the video and read his lines through the computer.
Yeah.
And as the days go on, she's still finicking with the thing. But the thing is, it's not a scab; it's a lump. So she's like scraping, like she's just scratching it. And he's like, "Don't." He's like,
he's bloody, getting a knife, trying to cut it open.
He's like, don't break, don't open it. Just leave it alone. And she's like, "You sure?" It's kind of irritating me. The next day, she's like, "So the thing was bothering me so much, I decided to grab a pair of scissors and a knife and rip my arm open just to see what the fuck is in my arm." He's like, whoa, girl, what the fuck? Why? Well, don't do that. Just put a napkin around your arm. Don't fucking do that. Why are you doing that? She's like, I don't know. It just it just kind of it irritated me, and I wanted to know what it was. Like, don't worry about it, baby. Just ignore it.
And then, so she then listens to James, I guess. I'm trying to remember it, and then she leaves it alone. Then the next night she tries to make contact with the ghosts.
Yeah.
And then
with her camera flashlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sees them, and then they knock her out. And the next thing you know is that he gets up.
He gets out of the other room.
He comes out of the other room and he checks on them, and it turns out that they're not ghosts; they're aliens that are tracking her, and they're using her and apparently a bunch of other women across the United States. I don't know if it's just women, but that's what they're showing it as. That they're incubators for the alien species. Because then what James does is that he just cuts her open and takes out the alien fetus, and was telling them, like, no, don't worry,
named it Ripley.
And
then another series came after the child grew up.
And then telling them, like, no, she's not going to remember anything. Don't worry, I got it figured out.
But he doesn't say it so seriously. It sounds like if it's like a comedy sketch, how he's talking to them. He's like, "Are you sure you want me to do this? No, she'll be fine. She'll be okay, dude." What? Really? What? Kind of remind me of like a little Mark Wahlberg guy.
And then what happens next? To try to make it seem like it's something that she accidentally did, she breaks her arm, and then the next day
she's like in a cast.
She's in a cast, and then she said that she came back from the doctor. It turns out that she has some form of schizophrenia, or that's what the doctor's telling her.
Yeah, it's
in reality, she's not.
He's gaslighting her.
Yeah.
Like men do to women since the dawn of time.
This one threw me for a loop, to be honest, because I was like, it's gonna be ghosts, and then it was like, nah, fam, this is aliens, and I'm like, you can't just have aliens and ghosts!
You know what?
You can't have both of those.
On the second season of American Horror Story.
Yeah.
I was like, aliens? Really? They always moved me at aliens.
So then that ends because it cuts to, then there's another girl.
Yeah, he's with another girl that he's quote unquote dating.
And it's the same thing. It's basically how the movie that film started, but it's with somebody else.
Yeah.
And so we just assume like, oh, okay, so there's like a bunch of incubators all over the world, I guess. I don't know.
This one was probably. If it hadn't been goddamn aliens, I might have liked this one more than I did. But it was aliens, and I was like, man, you mean you're going to tell me we live in a world where there's glitchy-ass demon killers and succubi and fucking aliens?
That's the plural for succubus.
Yeah, it's like, pick a lane.
Yeah.
Pick a lane. All right, and then ends.
It cuts to the empty room again, and the main guy walks in and sees that one of his friends is dead, and the old man is gone. And he starts to look for his friends, and then all of a sudden he runs into the old man, which has his jaw just gaping open, and then he kills him. And then
he kills all of them, and then it straight goes into the VHS, which is the last VHS in this anthology in the movie.
Yes, and it's simply called October. It's simply called 10/31/98. That's what the title of this one's called.
Halloween.
And it's set.
I remember Halloween '98.
God damn.
I'm serious. I was a sophomore in high school.
So these friends that are about to go to this Halloween party, but then they were going to go. Like, they ended up at a haunted house. At least that's what they thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna skip past the barbecue scene. So we're just gonna skip past the barbecue scene like they didn't include a goddamn barbecue scene in this movie. Oh, okay. There was a barbecue scene in this movie where they were too dumb to have brought spatulas, so they were using styrofoam plates to get burgers and dogs off the grill. And that was just fine. And they not throw a little joke of, yeah, I bet that's fine. There's no chemicals going to seep from the melting styrofoam into the food. No, this might be the 90s, but it is, Chad. It is. It's a problem. And then drunk college kids going to a costume party.
There
was
no
point for the barbecue.
Yeah, there was no point for the
barbecue. As somebody who lived through it, you underestimate the stupidity of the 90s incredibly.
I don't know why, but I feel like
we were idiots in the 90s.
I got confused when they showed the barbecue scene because I thought the people in the barbecue were also the same people in the Halloween one.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even realize that.
Because that's what my mind put together, that they were the same people there.
Does anybody want to know what my senior prom song was?
What was
the song by Cisco was my senior prom song. So
I'm so sorry.
We were idiots.
So then it goes to this guy. He dresses as a camera teddy bear.
He dresses a nanny cam.
Yeah, nanny cam.
I think it's interesting. Mm-hmm. Like, that's actually a pretty cool costume choice, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because it has a camera in there. It's like, oh, hey, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. And then one of them is dressed as the Unabomber, also,
and a pirate and a marine, and their names are unnamed teddy bear dude, whose name I don't know, but Chad, Matt, and Paul. Okay. There's a literal Chad now. I mean, they're all Chads, but like there is a literal Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they were originally going into a Halloween party. Am I right?
Yeah, they were going to a Halloween party, and then they ended up at the wrong place, which it turned out to be a haunted house or something like that.
A literal haunted house.
Yeah.
But they thought it was like a haunted house attraction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At first.
And you know what? I'm just gonna do it for the joke. Typical toxic masculinity. These guys could have asked for directions.
Yeah.
They passed a whole shit ton of people. They're on the street and they see random people. They'd be like, "Hey, we're looking for such and such." And also, they didn't write down the address. They were like, "Hey, what's the address?" I don't know. Madison, Monroe. They don't know the street name, and I'm like,
it was a president.
Yeah,
it was a president. Like, write down the street name. Get a map. Come on. Ask for directions. It's not that hard. Anyway, haunted house, and by the way, they just let themselves into this fucking house.
Yeah.
This house, they just walk in. There's no one there's nobody at this goddamn house. And they think, oh, this must be the house that the party's at because there's nobody here and we must be early. Sure, that must totally be the only option.
Growing up in South Texas, where we were trying to drink underage while avoiding adults, we always picked somebody's family whose grandpa had just passed away, who had some ranch house that nobody was occupying at the time. An empty
that got
house.
Darker than expected.
Yes, I was going to say, I was like, that was very typical back in the day. of us going on the outskirts to some ranch house where we could all drink underage and party.
Interesting.
And sometimes you were the first one there, so it was empty and dark. I'm serious. I get this part.
Okay.
Especially in the 90s.
So,
all right.
They start looking around the house. They start seeing like a bunch of this creepy stuff happening, but they think, oh, this is just part of the attraction. We don't see this creepy stuff happening, but they end up going up to the attic because they start hearing some things, and then they find these people, which I didn't know this until I read this. Apparently, they were performing an exorcism on this girl that was tied up. And I thought, like, oh, I really don't. Honestly, I wasn't really thinking of what was happening.
Yeah, the whole time seeing that, I was kind of thinking of RE7, like if they're like the kooky family doing some weird stuff.
Yeah. But so then they make a noise like saying like, oh, this is really fucked up. This is really scary. And then
because
what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
They're like, get the hell out of here! What are you doing here, you crazy son of a bitches? And they're like, whoa, dude! And they see the guy they were about to kill him. They're about to kill the girl, and they're like, whoa, stop! Like they were about to stop him, but then you see one of the guys float up at the sky, or like on the roof. He's like, oh! And then they run down.
They start running, and then all the actual ghost shit starts happening.
Yeah, which was pretty neat. I like the effect where like the hands are coming out of the walls and like
the effects of the hands coming out of the wall, the window shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And then they decided like, we need to go rescue that girl that's up there.
Yeah. Oh no. When the house was getting the effects, it wasn't that much, or like the door was closing yet. Like they had the door open. They were ready to get out. But the guy with the nanny cam costume wanted to be the macho man and wanted to save the day.
Wanted to be the hero.
He's like, we gotta save the girl, dude. And they go save the girl, and then that's
the girl, all the people start flying up in the air. They cut the rope off, and then they run out of the house while everything is all this creepy shit that's happening, and honestly, just really cool effects for this, small film.
Yeah.
And they finally get out through the basement, and then they get her into the car because they're trying to get her to the hospital, I'm assuming, because they didn't really come up with a full plan. They start driving away, and the car starts to stall, and they stop on they happen to stop on the train tracks, and then the girl is just gone in the back seat. And then she appears next to them and then in front of them, and it turns out like, oh no, she is possessed by something.
Yeah, she was the one doing all the havoc stuff, and she forced the car to be stuck there, and they got stuck in there as the train just keeps on going and kills them.
And then,
they all dead.
Yeah.
They all be dead, which evidently that's how the entire movie ends.
That's just how it ends. And then it just shows footage of the scumbags that were in the house, just doing the hooligan shit they were doing earlier.
So, they're just doing some hooligan ass shit. Just, hey man, let's go break some shit. That sounds like a good Tuesday.
Hey man,
all
let's
right.
go.
So like, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Edgar,
that's me.
What did you think about the movie, Edgar?
What's your rate?
Overall, this movie was just a mixed mash of a lot of shorts. Some had interesting premises, others I was bored and I hated with my entire heart. So it felt like it was like, okay, it was interesting, and then it goes in a really quick decline, and then kind of gets back up, because the other one it went from like, okay, interesting to boring to I hate really so much to I laughed a lot because of how bad it was, and then it goes from like interesting effects. I like the interesting stuff that they put in there. Wasn't great, but interesting. So it kind of went back up here, and but I did. It was like there was some good stuff, but there was a lot of bad, and I didn't like how I thought they could have done a better job trying to, give an excuse of like, oh, how they found these VHS. I didn't really like the weird, dumb assholes coming in and robbing a dead guy's place. It was not really my thing. So, and overall, my rating, I would probably give it a 2.5 stars, because it had some interesting stuff in it, especially since it's like different directors giving their own ideas and creative freedom that they were gonna do with it. But a lot of it was just like kind of like boring or just bad. But it wasn't the worst thing I saw. So 2.5 stars. And since we got our special guest here, Mrs. Laurie, what is your overall thoughts and rating for VHS?
Well, thank you, Mr. Edgar. I would say my overall rating, and you know me, I'm a softie. I'm going to give it a 2.75. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think it's a little bit above subpar. Yeah. But I do think it was not the beginning of, but there has been a trend lately in anthology. It happened before the pandemic, and I think since the pandemic hit, it's becoming even more and more where they get these directors to film these individual scenes, and then they bring them together for an anthology. They string them together. My friend Sergio out in LA, he was in a movie recently within the past 2 years called Portals. And he said, I'm in the first segment, and that's something I'm still getting used to. So whenever I saw this movie, I was actually about to ask you. I didn't know before you just said each segment had a different director. I didn't know that. I watched it and I was like, you know what? When I go on the show, I'm going to have to ask, do they have different directors? And you can tell.
Yeah. Fun fact. I will say, fun fact. One of the directors of these short films was the director for a movie that came out, I believe, in 2019 called Ready or Not. And
yes.
And I think he's also the same director. If not, there's a different director who's directing the new Kong vs. Godzilla film.
Yes.
Which I learned that from Robin. Thank you, Robin.
That's me.
It's become huge. Ready or Not, first of all, I thought it was genius.
Oh, Ready or Not's a really good movie. Ready or Not.
It was entertaining as all get out.
It was very Sam Raimi. Ready or Not.
Yes, very Sam Raimi. And I'm the type of person who I'm a sucker. Like, if I like it, I don't care about if it's going to win an award. Like, I like what I like. And definitely, if I'm entertained and it kind of grabs me, then I'm in. But yes, I do have to say this anthology trend. And when I asked my friend about it, he said, no, you have to understand this. These directors...
Hello?
It puts them on a platform and they start getting recognized by their own little pieces within the... Oh, can you hear me? Hello?
You cut off for a bit.
Okay. So what I was saying, I was like, my friend Sergio had told me that these anthologies and stuff, what it is, it's the way for these up and coming directors to work together to put themselves on a certain platform. Some of them excel, some of them fall to the wayside, but it is a common trend now coming up. And for the most part, I enjoy them. I actually, though, they're not my favorite. I don't like anthologies strung together things. I think the last movie that I personally believe that worked on was a movie called 4 Rooms, and at the helm of 4 Rooms was Quentin Tarantino, and he was the reason that movie got produced. But Robert Rodriguez and a lot of other up and coming directors came in, and they each directed a segment of that film.
Wasn't that where like that's how Tarantino and Rodriguez became like buddy friends? Wasn't that?
Yes, that's where, because he had met him. The Austin Film Festival.
Yeah,
he had met him through the Austin Film Festival, and Quentin Tarantino was just a breakout director at that point, and he got to choose directors to work with. And 4 Rooms was a genius movie, and it has a lot of heavy hitters. I mean, Madonna is in it, Antonio Banderas is in it. A lot of A-list celebrities are in this movie, but it's actually a cult classic, dark comedy, very little known film. But each segment, the premise is about Roth. What's his first name? Tim Roth?
Tim Roth?
Tim Roth?
From
Reservoir Dogs?
I can't remember.
Anyway, I know his last name is Roth. I believe his first name is Tim Roth. But anyway, he plays the bellhop, and it's very Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin back when he was like, blame it on the bellhop type thing. And he goes into each room and it's a different story. Well, this one was a dark twist on it that Quentin Tarantino actually helmed. And Tim Roth, he plays the bellhop. A young Tim Roth plays the bellhop. And each room he gets called to, it's a different, like, a bizarre, obscure scenario. And then in the end, it all comes into a culmination into the penthouse. And in the penthouse, somebody, like, spoiler alert, somebody gets their hand chopped off. But it is one of the best films I've ever seen. And that's the last time I really saw it work. And I try to keep an open mind with these anthologies and these collaborations, because you're going to have hits and misses. Robert Rodriguez's little segment in that film in 4 Rooms was fabulous. That's the one that, of course, Antonio Banderas and started. But yeah, I don't know. I think anthologies for me, though, will always kind of hold, like, I'll always be a little bit reserved by them.
Yeah. Because
I do like the classic one director, one vision style. So that's me.
Mr. Robin, what is your rating and overall thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'll go out on a limb and say I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It's mostly because I really liked the first one and the last one, and I do kind of like the one that's on the video chat one. I don't know why. It's just that one I just really kind of enjoyed it, and also just the big thing of it was the I just like the VHS aspect theme of it, and I think that's just one thing that I just like that aesthetic is the VHS aesthetic. But yeah, I mean that's really my rating. I mean, I can't really go into more detail about it. We did that for the past hour, so that's my rating. 3 out of 5.
Already. And of course, Mr. Will, what is your overall thoughts and rating?
1.5 stars. I'd recommend somebody watch it once, and I'm over it. I'm fucking done with this. I do not want to see the second one unless we have to. I really don't. I'm not committed. It's not dog shit, right? It's not. I think I have given a 0 star before, or if I wasn't allowed to give a 0 star, I think I gave a 1 star.
Didn't we give like?
One of the movies we had to watch?
Didn't you give it to Blood Beat? I think that's
probably called. Yeah. No, that sounds about right. Yeah, no, this isn't as bad as that, right? Yeah. Like I have found rock bottom of cinema, and this isn't that, but this isn't good. So 1.5 stars. Watch it once. Okay, maybe it's good enough that you can forget that you watch it because you forgot. Let me rephrase that. Maybe it's bad enough that you can forget that you've seen it, and then like years down the line go, oh, I've never seen VHS, and then you watch it again and you go, no, I've seen this. It's terrible. That's my view. Some of it was all right.
It's kind of like Christmas with the Cranks, you know.
Sure. It's about yeah. So it's like that. I'm gonna give 1.5 stars. I think maybe I'm being the harshest. I don't care.
Well, it's kind of like me.
I love it.
Yeah, I was
William is a Simon Cowell of This American Idol.
But that's VHS, and I'm happy we're over it. Edgar.
Of course, on the now that we all got our own our thoughts on it and our rating for VHS, if you guys are interested or just want to see what this is about, it's on Amazon Prime for free. I don't know how long it'll be on Amazon Prime, but you can find it there. It used to be on Netflix, but I don't think it's there anymore. But of course, our next week we have here, especially I know Laurie's really excited to talk about this one, is a couple of, I believe, 2 days ago, they announced the nominations for the Golden Globes Awards. And we...
What?
Yeah. And they have the nominees here, and I know Laurie, out of all of us, I believe she's the most knowledgeable in a lot of these things, and a lot of these categories, so we wanted to see and hear her thoughts on this stuff. And so we're just gonna go through the certain of the categories, the ones that interest us, or we feel we have a lot more to talk about on this one.
I feel like we would in grand total of all of us, we would probably have more to talk about with the film section of it rather than the television. Because I know not all of us watch the same TV, so and some of us don't watch TV at all. So I think
that's also the best part, that we all watch different things.
Yeah, that's also the best part too. But I feel like this is with film, that's something we could really grasp on for this conversation aspect of it. Yeah. And also, I also just feel timing wise too, because we have been going on for an hour.
But yeah, Lissa, I guess I'll give it off to Robin and Laurie, or maybe Rob to take us off with the nominees. What nominees do we got that we want to talk about here first?
We can first talk about the. I feel like we should save the best motion picture for last, like for both aspects, because I feel like that's like the top one to be focused on. So we can start with best performance in a motion picture drama for both actor and actress. So for actor, we have Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, which I've heard really great things about his performance. Sound of Metal is on Amazon Prime, and it's about this heavy metal drummer that loses his hearing, and he's trying to deal with what just dealing with losing his hearing. And then next we of course have Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which even if he wasn't dead, he still would have gotten this nomination. I still think he is my favorite to win it. Even if he wasn't black. That's just me, though. And then we have Anthony Hopkins for The Father, which The Father is about a family struggling with Anthony Hopkins, who is dealing with Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
And I've heard good things about The Father. The only problem is that it's not out yet for us to watch it.
Exactly.
So I really want to watch that when we can.
What's it called again? Can you say it again?
The Father.
Oh, The Father. Do you know? Have they said where it's going to be on?
March 15th. No, they didn't say what it was going to be on. They just said it's going to release in the worldwide on March 15th.
That's the annoying thing about the foreign press and the Golden Globes being before the Academy Awards. First of all, the second that I found out that they were even going forward with this, because considering our country's current state and the pandemic and everything, it was just something that melted my heart. It was a bit of normalcy in this topsy-turvy world that we've been having to deal with over the past year. I've always been such a fan of... I had a theater teacher whenever I was in junior high. His name was Travis Springfield. He's now Houston's officiant of UIL in that region, and he's a big judge for the UIL competitions in Texas high schools and collegiate alike. But he was the one who told me. I was saying, hey, Mr. Springfield, when I was 12 years old, what movies should I watch? And he said, go with the award shows. He goes, that's a good base, Laurie. And then go from there. And I never forgot that, because good, bad, or ugly, it does... Watching the things that are nominated, I don't always agree with them. Not everybody does. But watching the things that are nominated gives you such a solid foundation for a place to have an opinion from. Yeah. So when I was about 12 years old, I started recording all of the Academy Awards, Screen Actors Guilds, and Golden Globe Awards. I would record them, and then I would watch them at least once a week for the rest of the year until the next year's nominations came out. I have Billy Crystal and Amy Poehler and Tina Fey's speeches almost memorized. I have, like I said early in the broadcast, I love the pomp and circumstance of it all. I love old Hollywood. I love the glitz. I love the glamour. And I have a respect. Even if I don't always agree with it, I have a respect for the institution itself. That being said, yes, it's frustrating when we have and the Golden Globes. The difference, in case anybody doesn't know, the difference between the Golden Globes as opposed to the Academy Awards is that the Academy Awards is not the foreign press. The Golden Globes is completely voted on by the members of the foreign press. The Academy Awards, it's voted on by the Academy. The Screen Actors Guild, which most actors will say, oh, that's the most important one because you're voted on by your peers. That's a popularity contest. I still appreciate the Screen Actors Guild, but let's be honest. It's a popularity contest. But yes, I love it. But yes, it's very frustrating when not all of them are released at the same time.
Yeah. And then to continue on,
I'm so sorry.
So the next one is Gary Oldman for Mank, which honestly
I have seen because Robin showed me that one.
Yeah, which if Gary Oldman wins this instead of Chadwick Boseman, I also would not be upset.
Yeah,
because he was also fantastic in this.
Yeah. I will say I do need to rewatch Mank because I remember watching it because it was during the finals weeks. So
yeah, you were working on stuff.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed the character that he was playing in the movie, like who he played. That's what like kind of caught on me. So I was like, okay, I know I've heard a lot of good things of Sound of Metal, which is like maybe we'll watch it on the show one day. Maybe, who knows?
I mean, we also and then the last one for actor is, at least for drama, is Tahar Rahim for The Manchurian, which I haven't heard about that movie. I just know it's on Hulu, so we can't. Not all of us can watch that. Only Laurie can watch that.
I could watch it too.
Well, me and Will don't have Hulu. So moving on to actress, we have Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which she's going to win that. I'm sorry, she is. She was fantastic in that. And then we have Adria Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, who played as Billie Holiday. I haven't heard of that one. I know that one's also on Hulu, so I can't watch that one. So we have Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman. It was Promising Young Woman. This is one I heard good things about for the acting and all that. Frances McDormand for No Man Land, which I've also heard really great things about her performance in that movie.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Yeah. I think she's also a really big contender along with Viola Davis to win it. And then we got Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman, which again, that one I heard really good things about.
Interesting.
So yeah,
we're stacked, people.
Yeah.
We are stacked in these categories, which is very, very exciting. The other thing that is very, very exciting is our streaming services getting so many nominations, and kudos to all the streaming services.
Oh yeah, especially because we're in a pandemic. It's like
we're finally getting recognition.
They're getting a lot of recognition, which is awesome. I know.
We actually talked about it a couple of years ago about how we knew that this was going to be the up and coming.
Yeah.
And I think the pandemic accelerated things.
Oh yeah, like I think it accelerated it like really like real crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to best performance for musical or comedy. For actor, we got Sacha Baron Cohen as Borat. We have James Corden for The Prom. We have Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton. Dev Patel for The Personal History of David Copperfield. Andy Samberg for Palm Springs. I just kind of want to read through these and then we can discuss them afterwards. And so for actress now, we have Maria Bakalova for Borat, who played the daughter of Borat. Kate Hudson in music. Michelle Pfeiffer for French Exit. Rosamund Pike for I Care a Lot, and Anya Taylor-Joy for Emma. Okay, so I think that I want Sacha Baron Cohen to win for music or comedy, but I remember me and Will, we were talking about this. We feel like it's probably going to go to Lin-Manuel.
And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't care who wins it as long as James Corden doesn't win it.
Yes.
I think Lin-Manuel Miranda's gonna win, but as long as James Corden doesn't win, I'm okay with it.
I will be, because I have not heard good things about the prom.
When did Hamilton come out? like the actual play, not the one that came out on Disney Plus.
Years ago.
Yeah,
at
years
this
ago.
point.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
just because
it was made a movie though.
Yeah,
they just filmed the stage production of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see Lin-Manuel winning this, but I really hope it's Sacha Baron Cohen. That's the same that goes for
Maria Bakalova.
Bakalova. She was great in the movie. I feel like
Yes.
if it wasn't Borat that was in the scene, it was his daughter that took the entire movie there.
Yeah, I mean, even Sacha Baron Cohen said that the actress who played Maria Bakalova deserves all the praise for this.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Because, I mean, she was just fantastic, and I really do hope that in terms of the actress category, I hope that she wins it.
I also really hope we see her in future movies because she has a lot of potential.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
So, Laurie, who do you think would win for Best Actor, Actress in Musical or Comedy?
That's really hard for me. Here's the one thing that I do want to comment on. So, Broadway and film, they've transitioned into each other like would have never been possible had a pandemic not hit.
Yeah.
They never. What do we always hear? Every theater director and professor in any sort of a undergrad or graduate program always says the difference between film and theater is that theater is the experience of having it live, and it can't be the same as film. And even when we were transitioning into the pandemic where live theater just wasn't possible, and different companies dabbled with the idea of filming plays and musicals on stage, there is something that doesn't resonate. And I have to give it to Broadway. I have to give it to musical theater aficionados and people who are in the business by allowing free streaming of some of these musicals. It has completely changed the freaking game, and it will never be the same because they have set a precedence now. Now, I mean, remember, you could have accolades as a stage actor and not have accolades as a film actor. They completely shattered the boundaries between that. There is no line. There used to be a fine line. Now that line has been completely muffled. It's been completely demolished. Now they're one and the same. Now you can have a great musical, you can film it, you can put it out there for the world, and it can be nominated for an award. So I think there's something very fascinating about this that has to be recognized. That being said, who do I think is the shoo-in for the Golden Globe? Lin-Manuel Miranda. Anybody who has watched Hamilton. And I know we were oversaturated with Hamilton. Everybody was talking about Hamilton on Broadway. Everybody was talking about Hamilton tickets. It became a joke in so many sitcoms. But now we're in a whole different realm. Yeah, Hamilton has been around for years. But when the pandemic hit, they all joined together, including Lin-Manuel Miranda, and they filmed it on stage to help people get through the pandemic for free.
Everybody in the original Broadway cast
came together, and they broadcasted this for free. Things that there are people who never see a stage performance of anything. You know, there are people who go their entire lives, and either theater or seeing a live show just wasn't something that was put importance on. You know, it's considered since the dawn of time. You know, we see it, and it was considered, you know, a higher class aristocratic thing to go and see a live show, to go and see a play, to go and see theater. You know, the common folk went and saw movies. You know, the upper class went and saw theater. I think all of those boundaries have been dashed at this point, and now we're on a level playing field. And now watch out, because there's going to be some curveballs this season, this award season. I'm calling it right now. There's going to be huge curveballs in this, and that's why I'm so excited. But my call for best performance in a motion picture musical comedy male actor is going to be Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton.
Interesting.
Actress. You know what? Actress, I don't have a horse in that race.
we're all saying we feel like it's going to be Maria Bakalova, who played
I think it's going to be Michelle
Sacha Baron
Pfeiffer.
Cohen's.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yep.
Just gonna say Michelle Pfeiffer.
Just because it's Michelle Pfeiffer. I literally have no other reason. It's just Michelle Pfeiffer.
She's one of my favorite actresses. I've always loved her. But that one I have to do more research. I can't make a specific call right now.
French Exit is what the movie is.
Interesting.
All right, so moving on to Best Supporting Performance in a Motion Picture. For supporting actor, we have Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7.
That's my pick.
Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, which hasn't come out yet. It comes out on the 12th.
I really want to see that one.
Oh, yeah.
Jared Leto for The Little Things, which I'm very surprised that, given how bad the movie just starts, I'm surprised that something was nominated. I'll be honest, I didn't even get to that point where Jared Leto showed up, so I don't have an opinion on if he should have been nominated or not.
He actually plays a really good role.
Mm-hmm. That's what I haven't got to that part yet. Anyway, so Bill Murray for On the Rocks and Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami.
Okay, so this is as Sam Cooke. This is where I have a little discrepancy. My vote is between Bill Murray and Sacha Baron Cohen.
Mine is between Sacha Baron Cohen and Leslie Odom Jr. because I thought he was fantastic in One Night in Miami. And I thought like that because I know him he played Aaron Burr in the Hamilton show.
Yeah, he did.
And that's why I was just like, oh, he's fucking fantastic. Like that was just a great performance by him. So for supporting actress, we have Glenn Close.
Yep, and that's my pick. Hands down.
For Hillbilly Elegy.
Hillbilly Elegy, if you haven't seen it, go and see it now.
It's on Netflix.
It's amazing.
And
Sorry.
We have Olivia Colman for The Father, Jodie Foster for The Manchurian, Amanda Seyfried for Mank, and Helena Zingo for News of the World. I really don't have a pick for this one.
She's the little girl. My mom made me watch News of the World.
That's the one with Tom Hanks, right?
Yeah, the Western.
Oh, right. Okay.
I didn't even know that movie came out already.
I don't really have a dog.
It did. It came out. It's on demand.
Okay.
On my cable. I don't know where else it is.
I don't really have a dog in supporting actress. But I guess I'd go. For me, I'd go with Amanda Seyfried.
And I'm going with Glenn Close because if you haven't seen Hillbilly Elegy, oh my god.
Okay.
So good.
We'll make sure to give it a watch.
Same.
I will at least.
I know for sure. I'm gonna do my best to watch all the nomination movies that are here.
Yeah. So
you know what? Fun fact: as soon as they release nominations, I don't watch anything else. I only watch things that are nominated until the award season. Just so that way I can have all of my ducks in a row. I can have all of my information and can say that I watched everything.
So we're gonna do these two more we're gonna do, and then we're gonna do drama.
Can I hop in real quick?
Yeah.
Yes.
In terms of supporting actor, again, I don't care who wins as long as Jared Leto loses. Moving on.
Didn't you like him as the Joker?
No.
Understood.
Robin.
Yeah. So the last two we'll do before we get to best motion picture for both of them is director and screenplay. So we have director. We have Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, David Fincher for Mank, Regina King for One Night in Miami, Aaron Sorkin for The Trial of the Chicago 7, and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland.
Whoa.
I'm so torn.
I'm torn between David Fincher, Regina King, and Aaron Sorkin.
I'm torn between Aaron Sorkin and Regina King.
I
know it's going to be between the two of them.
Those three cameras. I mean,
because The Trial of the Chicago 7 was amazing.
Yeah. I hope that one.
But One Night in Miami, hello, and that's her first film.
Yeah.
Really?
Can I just point out my queen, Miss Regina King, who I was introduced to by Poetic Justice when she played the crazy girlfriend of Tupac Shakur's cousin.
I was introduced to her from the Boondocks.
Oh,
she plays Huey and what's his name? Oh, he played the two kids with Grandpa. She voices those two kids.
Really?
Yeah, for me, it was Tupac Shakur. She starred opposite Tupac Shakur in Poetic Justice. This is her first directorial debut, and Regina King, if you win, girl, I ain't mad at you.
And then we have screenplay, which this one I'm torn between Mank and Trial of Chicago 7. So we have Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, Jack Fincher, who was David Fincher's father, who passed away before David Fincher even made the movie a long time ago. I think he passed away in 98, I think. He wrote Mank. Aaron Sorkin for the Trial of Chicago 7, Florian Zeller and Christopher Hampton for The Father, and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland.
I'm Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping Aaron Sorkin wins because I love his writing. I'm just now starting to watch The West Wing. So
good.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched The West Wing, go home and watch it.
The only problem is that it used to be on Netflix and now it's only on HBO Max. Which I know my brother and Will are very sad that it's not on Netflix anymore.
Yep.
It's on HBO Max.
Yeah, but
that doesn't help me.
Oh.
So that's for best screenplay, and I don't I'm hoping either Jack Fincher or Aaron Sorkin win it. And now we move on to the last two. We have Best Picture for Drama.
And the nominees for Best Motion Picture Drama are Robin,
The Father, Mank, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. And then now for musical or comedy, we have Borat, subsequent movie film, Hamilton, music, Palm Springs, and The Prom. I'm hoping in drama. I'm for this one. I'm torn between Mank and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
I'm The Trial of the Chicago 7 all the way. And I'm torn for musical comedy between Hamilton and The Prom, because if you haven't checked out The Prom, it's amazing. It's an amazing musical, and it's going to win the Tony.
I'm gonna go with Borat. That's the one I've seen from all of these.
And that's a great one, too.
I'm either going with music or comedy. I'm either going with Borat or Hamilton.
I need to watch Hamilton. I haven't seen Hamilton yet.
Do y'all know the premise?
I'm just betting that Hamilton wins.
Have any of y'all ever heard of The Prom?
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
I went to mine.
Yeah. No, it's so good. It's about these two girls who are girlfriend, and they decide, and they live in a small town, and they decide to go to their senior prom together. And it's just very fitting. It speaks to our time and to our youth and to the emerging progressiveness of the world. And I think The Prom, we're going to see a lot more things from it. But do I believe The Prom is better than Hamilton? I'm not convinced. I love Hamilton. And Borat, I'm sorry. I didn't think I could like the second one as much as I like the first one, but I did.
Really?
And so much more. Oh. I love the second one.
Mm-hmm. It was good timing.
Yes, it was excellent timing. And I'm sorry. I have seen so many people, including Alex Jones and Joe Rogan, come out on their podcast defending Mayor Rudolph Giuliani for this movie. And I'm sorry, I don't see it either. They're like, oh, well, that's normal to reach down your pants. No, Joe Rogan said it on his podcast. I watched it earlier today.
No, I believe you.
Yes, Joe Rogan on his podcast with Alex Jones said it's normal to reach down your pants to adjust yourself after you've been mic'd.
While you're laying down.
And there's nothing wrong with that. This poor old man who had to reach for his genitals after removing a mic. No, I'm sorry.
And especially when the actress was inside the room with him.
Exactly. And I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. All I know is the feeling that I got from watching it, and I felt gross. and it elicited an emotion out of me, and that's great filmmaking.
Yeah.
So yes, if it were to win, I wouldn't.
I remember watching that scene because Etta came over and she wanted to watch it, so I rewatched it with her. And I remember when that scene like already started, she was just like in shock, and she's like, "Rewind that shit, bitch." I'm like, okay. And I was like,
I love Etta.
Yeah, shout out to Etta. We love you, Etta.
Etta, love you. Be on your show soon. Mwah.
And those are the nominees for, well, most of them for the
the 78th Golden Globe Awards.
So, that does it for that discussion.
Yeah, and and of course, we wish the best of luck to all the movies that are nominated there. And we'll see whenever they come out. When does the Golden Globes come out?
Not entirely sure.
I believe it's February.
February
28th.
Yes. And can I say, it is with the hosts, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, two of my favorite hosts from the Golden Globes. And they're coming back. I'm telling you, this is going to be a great show. Mark it on your calendars. Watch it. You're going to get some great laughs. I know, I'm like plugging it right now, and I'm not even a part of it. But yeah, I'm very excited about the Golden Globes here, especially because of that. Now, some backlash from the Golden Globes, in case y'all haven't been hearing this, some backlash has been about how the Hispanic and Latino community is not rightfully represented in the nominations. Have you heard this new trend?
I have not heard that.
I saw it started trending on Twitter. And the only reason I saw it is because I followed John Leguizamo, who I love. He came to Corpus back in 2015. And it was probably one of the best live comedic performances I've ever seen. He's amazing. I love John Leguizamo. But he has started a campaign about lack of representation in the award shows for Latinos. So I know that's going to get heavily criticized this year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, well.
And of course,
info from that.
Yeah. Interesting. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are not ending the show just yet. We have one last segment before we all gotta hit the hay and do our own things. It's our untitled segment idea. So, without further ado, I'm gonna play the intro. Let's just pause this. And a 1, a 2, a 1, 2. Hold up. I'm trying to. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, a 4. Oh, wrong one. That one. There we go. Had a quick technical difficulty. Went to the wrong one. I should delete that one soon.
Oh, it's just me. No. What the fuck? All right.
It was like a setup one to test stuff out.
Well, I feel since we have a guest here, I feel Laurie should go first.
I was about to say that, Robin. But yes, since Laurie, you are our special guest. What have you recently watched, seen, read, etc., etc., etc.?
Okay, so I have to admit, lately I have been obsessed with WandaVision.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so great because I have a 14-year-old son. And thank God he inherited my intelligence and he loves things just as much as I do in the cinematic world. But he keeps me young and fresh and we watch the show together. He's actually like becoming this little movie buff who it's one of those moments where the student becomes the teacher and he's teaching me a lot and he's keeping me relevant, which I appreciate. But WandaVision is probably my big list. It's number one on my list for things that you must watch right now because I'm completely obsessed with it.
Oh yeah,
especially that recent episode.
Oh, the recent episode without anything.
We can't talk about because it's. I know, but I will say about the earlier episodes how much I appreciate. This is something that they're honing in on as far as audience members. They are gaining a following with this nostalgic approach they're taking to this, because I will tell you, my son, he started the first episode and he said, "Mom, this is modeled after an old sitcom. Which one is it?" Within 20 seconds, I had told him.
Like we got
Dick Van Dyke
Dick
Show.
Van Dyke. We got,
and then
the next one, Bewitched.
Yeah, the next one was Bewitched. But then I YouTubed the episode of Dick Van Dyke where he's trying to impress his boss. And I had my son watch the original with me because I told him, no, don't trust anything as far as people telling you, oh, this was a reference to this. I was like, I will show you exactly where this came from. And that's where he has me as a benefit. I have him for the new stuff. He has me for the old stuff. And we keep each other very honest about it. And the second one, the same thing. And he times me to see how quick I can guess it. The one that threw me, I will admit, was the third episode because no kids.
The third one, I think, is supposed to be Brady Bunch because
it's not.
But the layout looks exactly.
The layout
is. It looks like it, but.
But the only thing that replicated the Brady Bunch, the house didn't even replicate the Brady Bunch. The only thing that replicated the Brady Bunch was the outdoor playground scene. And it was shot for shot. Other than that, it wasn't. And the only reason I know this is because when I was a kid, who my only influence was late night television, I watched these old episodes of Nick at Night, of the Brady Bunch and Bewitched and the Partridge Family over and over and over again. And here's the funny thing, though. Me and my son have this whole thing about if I had chosen one show from that time period to represent within a Marvel universe. And I was like, I was really disappointed that I didn't see a Sanford and Son. You know, I would have just loved Vision to come out like, you know, give us something, or the Jeffersons, Elizabeth. You know? Exactly. I'm coming, Elizabeth. It's the big one. Absolutely. But other than that, I love it.
Yeah. Nice. I really love it too. Hopefully, maybe in the future we could discuss WandaVision once the season's finished.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Will, what have you recently seen, watched, read, etc., etc., etc.?
Not a damn thing. No, I'm just kidding. I've been watching a couple of things. I've been watching through some Schitt's Creek, which is fun. And I've also been watching sparingly. Like I'll watch an episode and then that's my episode for the day, right? Of Bridgerton, which is fun. It's a period piece. They're in probably this later 1700s, if I had to guess, but it's a good show. It's fun. I enjoy it. I recommend it even. I'll even recommend it. I will recommend the show. I'm on episode 4 or something like that out of this season. But anyway, that's what I've been up to. It's been a good time. And Schitt's Creek is great. It's just a fun show. David! Well, David, Eugene Levy is just fun. Edgar?
Me, what I've recently done, I finished Ratchet and Clank, enjoyed that one, but what I've been recently playing, or doing stuff, of course, I was watching WandaVision. I really like what, I enjoyed the newest episode they did. But I've been recently playing the Uncharted trilogy, starting with the first Uncharted. Because I'm like, I want to play something. I want to play Uncharted. I've never played it before. I want to see how it is, and I'm enjoying myself. The gameplay it's not like what the gameplay's catching me. It's the story itself, and I'm enjoying the characters around there. It's like a Indiana. It kind of reminds me of like Indiana Jones kind of feel. You're going on this grand adventure to find this stuff.
That's where he's literally a treasure hunter and historian, so he's practically Indiana Jones.
Heck, this game
Jones.
This video game series is very popular that they're making it into a movie starring Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland as Nathan Drake.
I mean, I mean, just to wait and see. I mean, we haven't gotten a trailer yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can't jump to judging what it.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like,
no, you are.
No, what's this? I was judging. I was just like, but by the time of it, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have for today. Of course, I want to again. Oh yeah, I forgot Robin. My bad. Mr. Robin.
I'll just get to it. I just played. I've been playing the game you were playing, and I also wanted to talk about WandaVision, but Laurie took that, and then you took the Nathan Drake one. So I'll talk about. I played Call of Duty World War II, which is, let me just say, historically, it's a bad game. So many historical accuracies, specifically with the weapons that the Germans are using. Like when you're going onto the beaches of Normandy, the Germans are using like Russian submachine guns, which doesn't make any sense because they didn't use those. Anyway, that's my quick little thing. Fuck Call of Duty World War II. I still need to finish it by replaying it, but whatever. That's it. All right, now we can end it. That's it.
But yes. Wow. It's already time for the end of the show, but again, I do want to thank our lovely guest today, Miss Laurie Guajardo. Thank you so much for being on the show. And is there anything?
Thank you, Edgar. And yes, thank you so much for inviting me on the show. Rumors of my death are highly exaggerated.
Is there anything you want to promote, or you want to like tell people where to follow you or where to find you?
Yes, follow me at Lovely Laurie on Twitter, and you can also follow the Snake Pit page on Facebook, because we have been in a pandemic and we haven't had concerts going on, so we kind of went into a standstill with that because of everything else. I think we were trying to be really considerate of we as people are going through. Me as one of the founding members of Snake Pit, went through a lot myself. I lost my dad through the pandemic over this past year, as well as going through a lot of stuff with family, as everybody has. I think everybody at this point knows somebody who we've lost or we've been affected by somebody. But now I did just get my vaccination, and concerts are coming back up again, and it's time to start up again. So please follow me and stay tuned for things coming up.
Yes. And of course, if you're going to be watching us on YouTube, the link below, you'll be finding where you could follow her and the Snake Pit on Facebook there. And again, maybe hopefully we'll have Laurie here soon on another episode when we talk the Golden Globes, or maybe when we discuss WandaVision soon. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we love y'all. Make sure to go join the Discord if you want to be part of the community. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and all the social medias we have when you want to keep on touch and see when we're live or what other episodes are on YouTube or anything. But again, thank you all for coming. We love you all. We hope you guys have a wonderful night and a wonderful good night. And bye-bye. Bye. 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 Say bye.